Good morning,
Good morning, Your Honor.
Mr. Poston.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is the jail.
Good morning.
Forgive me.
The first misdemeanor, top misdemeanor, Mr. Burdette has refused.
Okay.
Forgive me, Your Honor. I don't recall your name. May I?
Oh, CONATSER.
Pleasure, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And then next to one of the notes where it says.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Can you tell me your full name?
Jacob Rodriguez Ventura.
Mr. Rodriguez Ventura, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing here on the charge of aggravated assault on a corrections officer, a felony matter. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Legal Defender's Office to represent you. Sir, you are in custody in other felony matters as well. I'm going to be hearing counsel on release conditions for Mr. Rodriguez Ventura on the new charge. I've considered the pretrial services reports, the inner complaint. I've seen the state's recommendation. Mr. Poston, anything further to add?
Your Honor, the state would just like to highlight just the absolute, for lack of a better term, gross nature of this assault. The myriad of diseases and infections that can be transmitted by having somebody throw bodily waste on somebody is just not something our CO signed up to take a risk for. $15,000.
Thank you. Defense counsel?
Yes, Your Honor, I have not been provided a copy of the interim complaint. So if the specific nature of those allegations are germane to this court's consideration, I would ask that we continue this matter to the afternoon session. If the court is willing to proceed at this time, I would point out that that my client has no juvenile history whatsoever. But given that he is in custody on other charges, I'd ask that the court impose a low $1,000 fine in this case.
All right. The court is going to impose a bond of $2,000, cash or secured, if posted, released to pretrial services, no contact with the alleged victims. Your next court date, sir, is going to be a preliminary hearing date on February 18th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. That date may or may not go, so make sure you keep in contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear for this court date or any future court dates, a warrant may issue for your arrest. Do you understand, sir?
Yeah.
All right, you're excused. Thank you.
Stand up. For the next one. Hold on, right now. In. All right, you see this face me so I can fix it for you. Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Morning, can you tell me your full name?
Where's Michael Cromwell?
Mr. Cromwell, I'm seeing you this morning on a review hearing regarding charges of rioting and aggravated assault. All right, sir, so you're still being held on the Maricopa County charges. The Maricopa County Sheriff's Department is supposed to come pick you up soon. So we're just going to set, the bond remains in place that was issued previously, and we'll set a review hearing in about a month, March 6th at 9 a.m., just to make sure they picked you up by then.
Real quick, so did I bind out Pima County charges?
No, you don't have any new Pima County charges. This is just from Maricopa.
So they're gonna come pick me up when?
They should pick you up soon, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Hey, well, have you guys sent Mr. Valencia and Carlos?
See.
Valencia, Colorado and Carlos? I got it. You guys haven't sent anyone to 15 yet?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's, yes.
Good morning. Can I get your full name?
Lee Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you on new charges of escape in the second degree, which is a felony matter. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I am appointing Mr. David Wilkinson to represent you. We're going to be setting release conditions. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint, the state prison recommendation, which I believe is 5,000. Mr. Poston, anything further to add?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Defense?
Your Honor, given that Mr. Johnson is currently held on other matters, we just asked the court impose $1,000 on this case.
All right. I do also note that the defendant has a probation hold as well as a other felony matter, as defense counsel mentioned, posing a bond of $5,000. Cash or secured if posted, released at pretrial. No drugs or alcohol, monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial. No contact with the alleged victim in the case, or excuse me, there's no victim in the case. Ignore that. All right, the next court date is going to be a preliminary hearing date on February 18th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. Mr. Johnson, keep in contact with your attorney. That date may or may not go forward, but make sure you keep apprised of all future court dates. If you don't appear for court, a warrant may issue for your arrest. You understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You're excused.
Let's go. Your Honor, this is the jail. I'm still waiting on Espinosa Cassie. Would it be all right if we move on to Felix?
Yes.
Is that a misdemeanor matter?
Yes.
May I be briefly excused, Your Honor? Thank you.
Oh, sorry. No, hold on. That's not a.
It's not a mistake. I'm telling you. Sorry.
Felix.
My club. I'll use signal.
Tell me your full name, sir.
Did you get it, Felix?
Mr. Felix, I'm seeing you today for a review hearing on your Maricopa County case for possession of narcotic drugs for sale. Looks like the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department still hasn't picked you up yet. The bond previously imposed of $7,500 will remain. We're going to set a review hearing on March 6th at 9 a.m. to make sure the Sheriff's Department has picked you up. I don't know if you have any other pending matters in Pima County, but those will be resolved before they pick you up, if you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're excused.
Back to misdemeanors. Okay.
Your Honor, I would also like to advise you that Mr. Gonzalez Kevin is still at the hospital.
Okay, thank you.
Now County and their completely unmanaged.
Oh. I don't have to. Okay.
But the hope is that they should correct them.
All right, good morning, sir. Can I get your full name?
My name is Lawrence Ibarra, 1025 1972.
All right, so I'm seeing you this morning for a review hearing on some Maricopa County cases. Looks like unlawful flight or assault from Maricopa County, and then there's an unlawful flight from Pinal County. And then the bond will remain that was previously imposed on both matters. And your next review hearing is going to be on March 6th at 9 a.m. That's to just make sure that, I don't know if you have any pending cases right now in Pima County, but those need to be resolved before either of those agencies pick you up.
If I may, Your Honor, could we postpone that one day further? That's the date that Mr. Iata is scheduled to be sentenced in Pinal County. So I hopefully that this will be a moot point. But I would hate for there to be some confusion about people trying to have him in two places at once.
All right, March 7th at 9 a.m.
That's perfect. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. And that's all. You're excused, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good luck.
Thank you.
For the section where it says preliminary hearing. And then continue to next day in the notes written.
Okay, thank you. TOC.
Morning, sir. Can I get your full name? All right, Mr. Vetto. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you on a warrant for arrest out of Santa Cruz County. This is for a charge of misconduct involving weapons, which is a felony matter. So you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. You have counsel seated next to you for today's hearing. I'm going to set release conditions. Mr. Poston?
Your Honor, we were looking at, this is not a review hearing?
How many warrants is there on now? For Vetto?
Oh, there we go. There you go.
Sometimes the defense does if he is talking to him like he is now, he may have some input for you, but.
All right, sir. So it looks like the warrant from Santa Cruz County already has a bond amount of $7,500. So I'm going to just honor that amount of $7,500 cash. I also see that you have a hold for Pima County Justice Court case, and you're in custody of other charges in Pima County as well. So we're going to set a review hearing for the Pinal County matter, or Santa Cruz County matter, on March 6th at 9 a.m. just to see where we're at with your other local charges. Your excuse, sir. Thank you. Morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name?
Espinosa.
Ms. Espinosa, this is the time set for your initial appearance. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated next to you for purpose of today. I'm seeing you on a felony charge of trafficking and stolen property. I've read the pretrial services report, the state's recommendation, and the interim. Mr. Poston, anything further to add?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you. Defense counsel?
Sure. I see that state's counsel for the state has said that Ms. Espinosa lacks significant ties to this community. I would disagree with that. It appears that she does have a stable residence in Idaho, which is within Pima County. So while she may not have ties explicitly to Tucson, I still think that she should be considered to have community ties for the purposes of these proceedings. I would further note that her fiance has been reached by pretrial services, confirmed that she has a steady place to stay and that he can provide transportation to her in order to reach hearings from the Idaho area to hearings down here, which is obviously going to be important for ensuring that she appears in the future. But given that that is in place, we would ask the court release Ms. Espinosa to pretrial services supervision.
All right, thank you. I'm going to release Ms. Espinosa to the custody of pretrial services. Ma'am, no alcohol, no drugs, monitoring and treatment as directed by pretrial, weapons, no contact with the alleged victims in this case. Do not return to the incident location. Your next court date is going to be February 26th at 2025 at 1:30 p.m. That's a preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go, so make sure you keep in contact with your attorney. If you miss that date or any future court dates that may set for you, warrant may issue for your arrest. Do you understand, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you're excused.
Thank you. Today, can you come against me on video? There. 98. Into 1698. If you're able to play from 1698. Yeah. Yeah, just let them know I'm getting compensation for all of it on. Thank you.
Your Honor, we're still waiting on Mr. Valencia Velardo Carlos. We're wondering if you can continue on the court for Mr. Pointer.
Okay. All right, counsel, this one's going to be a misdemeanor, so if you need to take a break or feel free.
I will stand and chat with some folks. Thank you, Your Honor.
Morning, sir. Can I get your full name?
Lane Victor Pointer.
Morning, Mr. Pointer. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a misdemeanor charge of criminal trespass in the second degree in Pima County Justice Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you can't afford one may be appointed for you. I'm going to be setting release conditions for you today, sir. I'm going to release you on your own signature or on your own recognizance. No contact with the business victim, alleged business victim in this case. Do not return to that business where this is alleged to have occurred. I do see here, sir, that you have a adult probation hold. Your next court date, sir, is going to be a arraignment on March 10th at 8:30 p.m. 8:30 a.m. At the Pima County Justice Court with Judge Ball. So if you're in custody on that adult probation hold, then the jail will make sure you get to that court date. But if you're out of custody, it's up to you to make sure you get to your court date. If you don't show up, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, you're excused.
Here's.
45, yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, that's what you're that area to from Granville.
Was it Sheena too?
Yeah, it's first name.
Good morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name?
Carol Ellen Sayers.
Good morning, ma'am. You're here for an initial appearance on some domestic violence charges of assault and disorderly conduct, which are misdemeanors out of Pima County Justice Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one, one may be appointed for you. I'm going to be setting some release conditions for you, ma'am. I'm going to release you today on your own signature on your promise to appear for your next court date. No contact with the alleged victim, in this case, your husband. Do not return to that residence.
Ma'am. I'm sorry.
Hold on. And this court order, you will be allowed to return one time to pick up your belongings with a police escort. Just go to the local police or sheriff's department. They'll help you with that. But at this time, your husband has indicated to pretrial that he does not want you to return. That may change in the future, but as of this time, that's the information I have today. Your next court date, ma'am, is going to be March 10th, which is an arraignment at 10:30 a.m. at the Pima County Justice Court with Judge Ball. If you don't appear for your court date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're excused. Thank you.
I have nowhere else to go other than my house.
Well, all right. So, ma'am, once you're released next to the jail, there is a transition housing center. That's right outside the jail. You can reach out to them to see if they can help you with a housing situation. But until there's a different court order, you're going to have to figure out a way, family, friends, something to stay somewhere else. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. You're excused.
Thank you.
Ma'am, hold on. Anthony?
Good morning, sir. Can I get your full name?
Anthony Paul Granville.
Mr. Granville, I'm seeing you today on an initial appearance on some Tucson City Court charges of assault, domestic violence, and disorderly conduct, domestic violence. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one, one may be appointed for you. I'm be setting some release conditions today. I have also considered the risk assessment that was provided in this case. Sir, I am going to hold you on $1,000 for secured bond. If you do post that bond, you are ordered not to commit any further acts of domestic violence. No contact whatsoever with Anastasia Adusin, the listed victim in the case. Do not return to her residence. If you have any property at her residence or the shared residence that you guys had, you can return one time with a court order to retrieve your belongings with law enforcement escort. I'm going to appoint the City Public Defender's Office to represent you. Your next court date is going to be a video review hearing on February 12th at 1:30 p.m. in front of Judge Millian in Tucson City Court. This is also the time set for your arraignment. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. You're ordered to attend all future court dates, whether that's February 12th or any future dates. If you're in custody, the jail will make sure you get there, but if you postpone and you're out, it's up to you to get there and keep in contact with your attorney. If you do not appear for your court dates, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Trial may go in your absence. If you are convicted at trial and in your warrant status, you're not able to be sentenced within 90 days of that conviction, you can lose your right to direct appeal. Do you understand the consequences of failing to appear, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Good luck to you. You're excused.
Can I have a question? One question, please.
Go ahead.
So the residence is it's my lease and she has her own apartment. So she's forcing herself onto me. So like we've been trying to break up for a long time and she's forcing herself onto me. I don't understand how I.
Okay, well, talk to your attorney about that. I'm appointing you an attorney, okay? But I don't know about all the lease arrangements, et cetera, but her residence, you're not allowed to return to her residence. Whether
Yes, she lives in a different place and I live where I live.
okay, so if that's the case, then no worries if that's the case. If you have two separate residences, I'm just saying don't return to her residence.
Yeah, the officer said that after 30 days she's allowed to just live there and not pay no rent or anything. And I'm like, I don't understand.
Okay, talk to your attorney, sir, about all that. All right, talk to your attorney. Thank you.
Jesus?
Good morning. Can I get your full name?
This is Eduardo Vindoram.
Sorry, is it Olgin?
Yes.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Olgin. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some domestic violence charges of criminal damage and disorderly conduct, which are misdemeanors out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one, one may be appointed for you. I'm going to set some release conditions for you, sir. I'm going to release you on your own promise to appear, your own recognizance, and you are to commit no further acts of domestic violence. Your next court date, sir, is March 7th at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Millian at Tucson City Court. This is also the time set for your arraignment. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. You are ordered to appear for all future court dates, so that's March 7th and any future court dates that may occur. If you do not appear for your court date, a warrant may issue for your arrest, and the state may choose to go to trial in your absence. If you're convicted at a trial and are not able to be sentenced within 90 days of that conviction because you're on warrant, you may lose your rights to direct appeal. Do you understand the consequences of failing to appear for court?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you're excused. Thank you, Mr. Olgin.
Ma'am, go back, take a seat. Oh, it's gonna be that gentleman. Take a seat right there for me, sir.
Morning, sir. Can I get your full name?
Okay. Your Honor.
One more time.
What was the question, Your Honor?
What was your name, sir?
Olsen.
All right, Mr. Olsen, this is a time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you here on Tucson City Court matters. There's two new charges, drug paraphernalia and assault on an officer. And then there's some warrants, Tucson City Court warrant matters, which are for criminal trespass, theft, parks closed area, criminal trespass, drug paraphernalia, another criminal trespass, disorderly conduct. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. I am going to appoint the Tucson City Public Defender's Office to represent you in this matter. So because of the failures to appear, I am going to order a bond of $500 cash in this case. If you do post that $500 bond, do not possess or consume any alcoholic beverages or any illegal drugs. No contact of any kind with any listed victims or businesses. Do not return to any of the incident locations or the businesses where these have alleged to have occurred. Your next court date, sir, is a video review hearing on February 14th at 1:45 p.m. in front of Judge Hale in Tucson City Court. If you're still in custody at that time, then the jail will make sure you get there. If you post the bond, it's up to you to make sure you make your court date. This is also the time set for your arraignment for the new city court matters, the drug paraphernalia and assault. You are presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. Like I said, you're ordered to appear for all court hearings, including the one next Friday on February 14th. If you miss your court hearings, a warrant may issue for your arrest. The state may choose to go to trial in your absence. If you are convicted at a trial in your absence and not able to be sentenced within 90 days because you're on warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. So it's in your best interest to show up for all court dates, sir. You understand the consequences of missing court?
Yes, Your Honor. Am I being released on my own recognizance?
No, I'm posing a $500 bond.
Okay.
All right, you're excused. Thank you.
Also stand up.
Morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name?
Jamie Marguerite Sullivan.
Ms. Sullivan, good morning. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some assault charges, 2 counts of domestic violence out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. Ma'am, so I'm going to set your release conditions. I am going to release you today on your promise to appear on your own signature with the order that you are to commit no further acts of domestic violence. Your next court date is going to be March 7th at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Million in Tucson City Court. Because these are new charges, it is also the time set for your arraignment. You're presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. You're ordered to appear at the court date on March 7th and any future court dates, ma'am. If you do not appear for court, a warrant may issue for your arrest. The state may choose to go to trial without you. And if you're convicted at a trial and not able to be sentenced within 90 days because you're on warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand the consequences of failing to show up for court?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You're excused, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name?
Good morning, Karen Ruiz, Borbon.
Ms. Bourbon, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you on the charges of criminal damage and disorderly conduct, which are misdemeanors, domestic violence offenses out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. I'm going to be setting your release conditions today, ma'am. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance, on your own promise to appear for your future court dates. You are to commit no future acts of domestic violence. Your next court date is going to be March 7th at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Million at Tucson City Court. Because these are new charges, this is also the time set for your arraignment. You're presumed innocent. I'm going to enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. You're ordered to appear for all court hearings, including the one on March 7th. If you do not appear for any court date, a warrant may issue for your arrest. The state may choose to go to trial without you. If you're sentenced at a trial and not able to be sentenced within 90 days because you're on warrant status, you may lose your rights to direct appeal. Do you understand the consequences of failing to appear for court?
Yes, I do understand.
All right, you're excused, ma'am. Make sure you make it to the next court date, March 7th.
Thank you so much.
Your Honor, we have Valencia Velardo. Would you like to see him next?
Sure. Does it-
Okay.
Is that a felony?
Yes.
Morning, sir. Can I get your name?
Carlos Ignacio Valencia Gallardo.
Mr. Valencia Gallardo, good morning. I'm seeing you here on a review hearing from Pinal County Superior Court case regarding possession of narcotic drug and paraphernalia. Sir, see here you have a local jail sentence that ends in March. Do you know when that ends?
The second, I believe.
March 2nd of this year? Okay. All right. So we're just going to the bond remains on the Pinal County case. And once you're done with your local charges, then Pinal County should pick you up and take care of that. So I'm just going to set a review hearing on March 6th, 2025 at 9 a.m. just to make sure Pinal County has picked you up on that.
All right.
All right, your excuse. Thank you.
Your Honor, the next one, Mr. Francis Enriquez, is the Spanish case.
Do we have our interpreter on the line?
Yes, Your Honor, the Spanish interpreter is on the line.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, sir. Can you tell me your name?
Buenos días, señor. ¿Me puede decir su nombre?
José Francisco Francis Enriquez.
José Francisco Francis.
Mr. Francis Enriquez, this is a time set for your initial appearance.
Señor Francis Enríquez, este es el día programado para su comparecencia inicial.
I'm seeing you on charges of possession of narcotic drugs, possession of drug paraphernalia, and theft of a credit card.
Y le estoy viéndolo hoy por posesión de droga narcótica, por posesión de parafernalia para artículos de droga y por robo de una tarjeta de crédito.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Tiene derecho a permanecer en silencio. Cualquier cosa que diga puede y será usada en su contra.
You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you.
Usted tiene derecho a contratar su propio abogado. Yo voy a nombrar a la Defensoría Pública del Condado de Pima para que lo represente.
I'm going to be setting some release conditions. Does the state have a recommendation other than what's written?
State submits on the record, Your Honor.
Dice la juez, voy a fijar unas condiciones de liberación y le pregunta a la fiscalía si tiene alguna recomendación. La fiscalía contesta que deja la consideración de la juez.
Thank you, Defense Counsel.
Yes, Your Honor. I would just note that these allegations are nonviolent.
Gracias, su señoría. Solo quiero informarle que estas aseveraciones o alegaciones no son violentas.
And that Mr. Francis Enriquez scored a 3 on both the FTA and NCA scales, suggesting he's on the lower end of both risk calculuses.
Bueno, y el señor Francis Enríquez tiene la calificación de 3, ambos en FTA y NCA, que indica que ambos tienen una calificación de bajo riesgo.
For those reasons, we ask that the court release him to the supervision of pretrial services. But if the court is not inclined to release him at this point, we'd ask that the court impose a low bond for the same reasons.
Bueno, por esa razón le pedimos a la juez que lo libere bajo los servicios para la supervisión de los servicios previos al juicio, y si no es así, que considere que entonces la juez lo libere, lo define una fianza baja debido a las razones ya expuestas.
Thank you, counsel. I'm going to be releasing Mr. Francis Enriquez to the custody of pretrial services.
Gracias, señor abogado, y voy a liberar al señor Francis Enríquez para que esté supervisado por los servicios previos al juicio.
No alcohol or drugs, monitoring and treatment as directed by pretrial.
Y no puede consumir drogas ni alcohol y debe conseguir las recomendaciones de monitoreo y tratamiento de los servicios previos al juicio.
No firearms and no contact with the alleged victim in the case.
No puede poseer armas de fuego y tampoco tener contacto con la presunta víctima de este caso.
Your next court date, sir, is February 26 at 1:30 p.m.
Su próxima fecha de corte, señor, es el 26 de febrero a la 1:30 de la tarde.
That court date may or may not go forward, so keep in contact with your attorney.
Puede que se realice esa fecha de corte o no, y debe entonces por eso mantenerse en comunicación con su abogado.
If you do not appear for court, a warrant may issue for your arrest.
Si no comparece al tribunal o a la corte, se puede emitir una orden de arresto en su contra.
Do you understand the consequences of failing to appear for court?
¿Comprende cuáles son las consecuencias por no comparecer a la corte?
Sí.
Yes.
Right, thank you. You're excused.
Gracias, y ya se puede retirar.
Sí, sabes antes que se debe llamar. Sí, después de eso.
At the jail, can I ask, do we have any other interpreter matters?
Su abogado.
No, Your Honor.
Right, thank you. Madam Interpreter, you're excused.
Gracias. Suerte, señor. Thank you.
Porque
Just like the scene. That's great. And the whole guy was.
Is that Lagarde?
Yeah, he's no longer gonna be seen as so.
Good morning, ma'am. Can I get your full name?
Cabrera.
Ms. Cabrera, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you on charges of aggravated DUI, driving on a suspended license, criminal damage, endangerment, which are felonies, as well as some misdemeanor matters, assault, disorderly conduct, criminal damage, criminal trespass in the third degree. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated next to you for purposes of today. I'm setting some release conditions. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, as well as the interim. State's requesting 10,000 bond. Mr. Poston, anything further?
State submits.
Thank you, defense counsel.
Yes, Your Honor. I would just note that these are nonviolent allegations and that Ms. Cabrera has no prior felony history of the kind. So for those reasons, we'd ask the court release her to the supervision of pretrial services.
Ms. Cabrera, I am imposing a bond of $2,500, cash or secured, Release to pretrial if posted. Do not drive with a valid driver's license. Without a valid driver's license, no alcohol, drugs, monitoring, or treatment is directed by pretrial. No contact with any alleged victims in the matter. Your next court date, ma'am, is going to be a preliminary hearing on February 18th at 1:30 p.m. That date may or may not go forward, so make sure you keep in contact with your attorney in case that date changes. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant may issue for your arrest. Do you understand, ma'am?
Yes.
All right, thank you. You're excused. Oh, excuse me, not excused yet. All right, ma'am, I'm also seeing you today on some city court matters. All right, looks like these are new city court matters, so these are for all right, so I already read those to you earlier. Those are the misdemeanor trespass, disorderly conduct, assault. So for those matters, ma'am, I am going to release you on your own recognizance on your promise to appear. You're ordered not to possess or use any alcohols or drug. No contact with any alleged victims. Do not return to the incident location. Your next court date for those is going to be March 4th at 2 p.m. In front of Judge Crenshaw. If you're in custody, the jail will make sure that you get to that date. If you're out of custody, it's up to you to make sure you get to that date, March 4th at Tucson City Court at 2 p.m. And because these are new charges with Tucson City, it is also time set for your arraignment. You're presumed innocent. I'm going to enter not guilties on your behalf. You're ordered to appear for all court hearings, including that March 4th date or any future court dates. If you fail to appear, a warrant may issue for your arrest. Trial can go in your absence. If you're convicted at trial and unable to be sentenced within 90 days because you're on warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand the consequences of failing to appear for court?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, ma'am. You're excused now.
Your Honor, just Miss Cabrera wants to make sure that she's not in violation of the court's release conditions. She's curious where specifically she's being prohibited from returning. I don't know that it was entirely clear from the charges themselves.
Before.
3735 North Romero Road. I believe it's a business of some sort. Good morning, sir. Tell me your full name.
Good morning, Tyler Christopher Cox.
Mr. Cox, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on charges of aggravated assault, misconduct involving weapons, and theft of a firearm. Those are felony matters. You have the you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. We're posing some release conditions. State is recommending $25,000. Anything further to add to the written recommendation, Mr. Poston?
Your Honor, this is a fairly concerning one, considering the fact that it looks like he was saying with somebody by their own generosity and then stole a gun and apparently fired it several times. The state need not remind the court that once the bullet's fired, it could kill the intended target or anybody else who would be innocent. This is dangerous, and it's not entirely sure because at the time I submitted these recs, it wasn't entirely clear whether or not he was on any probation hold or had other pending cases. 25,000.
Okay, thank you, defense counsel.
Yes, Your Honor. I was informed by the jail a few minutes ago that his parole hold has in fact been confirmed. So in light of that, I would merely, with regard to these new allegations, I would simply point out the fact that these are allegations at this point. He is presumed innocent of those. But given the fact that a DOC hold is in place, we'd ask that they impose a low bond in this case.
All right, thank you. I am going to impose a bond of $25,000, cash or secured, if posted, released to pretrial. However, sir, note that the DOC hold is there. So even if you post bond, you may not be able to get out if that DOC hold is still present at that time. If you are released, no firearms, monitoring or treatment is directed by pretrial, no contact with the alleged victims, do not return to the incident location. Your next court date, sir, is going to be February 18th at 1:30, which is a preliminary hearing date. That date may or may not go, so make sure you keep in contact with your attorney, because that date may change. If you fail to appear for any court hearings, a warrant may issue for your arrest. So it's in your best interest to show up for court and keep in contact with your attorney.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, you're excused. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. Can I get your name?
This is for James Joman.
Mr. Drummond, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on charges of possession of a dangerous drug, possession of a narcotic drug, possession of drug paraphernalia, and resisting arrest, which are felony matters. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. I'm be setting some release conditions. The state is recommending $10,000. Mr. Post, anything further to add?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm not entirely sure why this wasn't charged as possession for sale, because we're looking at dealer weights, and he did try to flee, and for that reason, Your Honor, also looking at his history, it would appear that he may or may not be detained currently without bond for a separate matter. $10,000.
Thank you. Defense counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. I would respectfully disagree with counsel for the state that the amount that we're talking about here at 18 grams is particularly suggestive of sales. Ultimately, I think it's somewhat of a moot point because my understanding is that my client will be facing a petition to revoke in a prior matter here locally, and as a result, he will likely be held on that matter. In light of that, we'd ask that the court impose a low $500 bond in this case, with the expectation being that he will remain here in custody on that other matter.
Can the jail confirm the hold for probation? Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yes, Your Honor, there is one.
Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. German, I'm going to impose a bond of $5,000, cash or secured, released to pretrial if posted. You do have that other hold for probation, so even if you posted it, you may or may not get released because of that probation matter until that's resolved. If you are released from custody, no alcohol or drugs, monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial, no firearms whatsoever. Your next court date, sir, is going to be a preliminary hearing on February 18th at 1:30 p.m. That day may or may not occur, so make sure you keep in good contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear for any court dates, a warrant may issue for your arrest. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. You're excused. Good morning, sir. Can I get your full name?
Martin Lopez Mji.
Mr. Lopez Mji, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today for charges of domestic violence, aggravated assault, strangulation, as well as domestic violence kidnapping. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the public defender's office to represent you, and you have counsel seated next to you for today. I'm going to be setting some release conditions. I've considered the interim complaint, the pretrial services report, as well as the risk assessment included. The state's recommending $7,500. Mr. Poston, anything further to add?
Your Honor, given the disturbing allegations and indicia of the victim's airway being restricted, the state need not remind the court of the statistics regarding escalation and subsequent incidents leading to issues of mortality. State recommends 7,500. This person did score high on the Form 4C as well.
All right, thank you. Defense counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to address several of the things that were that are contained in these allegations. While obviously these are very serious allegations, I do want to point out that the pretrial services report said that the alleged victim indicated that she was not harmed, did not sustain any injuries during the course of this, and does not object to my client's release. He has separate housing with his parents, apart from the alleged victim here, and I think that releasing him to the supervision of pretrial services with explicit orders that he not have any contact with the alleged victim in this case going forward and return to the incident location will be sufficient. The alleged victim in this case, as well as ensure his appearance at future. So for those reasons, we'd ask to release him to pretrial services. I also want to point out his complete lack of prior criminal history, which I also think is very important in this situation. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. I do think a bond is appropriate in this matter. I'm going to impose bond of $25,000, cash or secured, if released to pretrial, no alcohol, drugs, commit no acts of domestic violence, monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial, no contact whatsoever, direct or indirect, with the named victim in this matter, do not return to her residence or the incident location. So your next court date is going to be February 18th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. That date may or may not go forward, so make sure you keep in contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant may issue for your arrest. Do you understand the consequences of failing to appear, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. You're excused. All right, good morning, sir. Can I get your full name?
William Glenn Lynch.
Yeah, Mr. Lynch, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on 5 separate cases today on felony matters of possession of dangerous drugs for sale, possession of narcotic drugs for sale, personal possession of narcotics and dangerous, additional narcotic dangerous drug paraphernalia, narcotic, former counts of drug paraphernalia. I'm also seeing you on some city court matters, it looks like. We're going to talk about the felony matters first. Sir, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. Be setting some release conditions on these felony matters first. Looks like the state is recommending 25.
Your Honor, it's a total of 15.
Sorry, go ahead.
Your Honor, across all five, it is 15,000. 15,000 for the 5-pack.
Okay, state's recommending different bond amounts for the 5 separate ones, but requesting consecutive. All right. Anything further, sir?
Your Honor, he's dealing in large amounts. He's dealing on a very extended period of time. This person presents a risk to the community. Every sale of this poison is killing people, and he's dealing, and he's doing a lot of it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Mr. McCloskey?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lynch does have a somewhat lengthy criminal history, but I would point out that it is all drug-related and nonviolent. I do think that is an important consideration here. I do think that segues into another issue with the pretrial services recommendation. I know that he scores very highly in their measure. However, I overheard a discussion with regard to this recommendation in which pretrial indicated that they were characterizing an old neglect conviction as a violent offense, which I think dramatically changes the way that numerical system creates a recommendation. And I don't think that that's really an accurate characterization of that conviction. So I don't think that the recommendation with those high scores as to both NCA and FTA are actually as accurate and useful as they might be in other contexts. I would ask the court consider all that and consider releasing Mr. Lynch to the supervision of pretrial services. If the court is not so inclined, then we'd ask that the court impose a low $2,500 bond for those same reasons. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. I do believe a bond is appropriate in all matters. They're going to be concurrent, however. So for CR 25-001724-FE, it's going to be $10,000. Cash or secured to pretrial if posted. No drugs, no alcohol, no firearms. Monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial. For CR 25-001738-FE, it's going to be $5,000 cash or secured to pretrial if posted. Again, that's going to be concurrent. All these are going to be concurrent. No alcohol, no drugs. Monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial. No firearms. For CR 25-001739-FE, it's going to be $1,000 cash or secured, be concurrent, same release conditions. CR 25-001740-FE, it's going to be $10,000 cash or secured, pretrial if posted. Their same release condition, again, concurrent. And the last one here is going to be CR 25-001741-FE, $2,000 cash or secured, same release conditions, again, concurrent. For all these matters, sir, your next court date is going to be a preliminary on February 18th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. That day may or may not go forward, so make sure you keep in contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant may issue for your arrest. So I'm going to go on now to your city court matter, sir. So this is an initial appearance on some city court matters, criminal trespass in the 3rd degree, 2 counts. And it looks like it's actually not a new matter. These are warrants out of city court. So for those, matters, sir, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance. Your promise to appear on your own signature. No contact with any kind with the alleged victims in that case. Do not return to the incident locations. Your next court date for those is going to be March 21st at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Mayhew in Tucson City Court. If you're still in custody on the felony matters, then the jail will make sure that you get transported there so you can see the judge for video review. If you're out of custody, you post your bond, you make sure you get to Tucson City Court on March 21st. All right, you're excused, sir. Thank you. Good morning, sir. Can I get your full name?
Sergio Noe. Martinez.
Mr. Martinez, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on felony charges of a couple counts of prohibited possessor, possession of firearm during the commission of a felony offense, possession of narcotic drug, and possession of drug paraphernalia. You are presumed innocent, or excuse me, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. Looks like the state is recommending $10,000. Mr. Poston, anything further?
Does this individual have a, how many does he have any detainers right now?
I did see a DOC hold. Mr. McCloskey, did you
State
know?
stand.
I believe that the staff at the jail is indicating that that has been confirmed.
State submits.
All right, thank you, Mr. McCloskey.
And Your Honor, in light of that, we would just ask that the court impose a low $1,000 bond. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm going to impose bond of $7,000, cash or secured, to pretrial if posted. No alcohol, no drugs, no firearms. Monitoring or treatment is directed by pretrial. Sir, as you heard, you have a DOC hold, meaning if you post that bond, you're likely not going to get out until that DOC hold disappears. So just keep aware of that. Your next court date is February 18th, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. That date may or may not occur, so keep in contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, you're excused.
Do you want some thoughts on the light check as well?
Good morning. Can I get your name, sir?
It's Eliana Orquídez.
Excuse me. Sorry.
It's okay.
All right, Ms. Urguites. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you here on charges of shoplifting, which is a felony, and false reporting to law enforcement and possession of drug paraphernalia, which are misdemeanors. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. I'm going to be setting some release conditions. Mr. Poston, the state is recommending $5,000. Anything further to add?
One moment, Your Honor. No, Your Honor. State submits. I do believe there is a hold on this person as well.
All right, Mr. McCloskey?
And just for clarification, is there a hold or is there a warrant in place on this case?
I see a failure to appear warrant on a post-indictment matter from CMC.
If the court intends to hold Ms. Orquídez on the warrant, we'd ask the court impose a $500 bond in that in this case, noting the nonviolent nature of the offense. If the court is willing to consider it, and our request would be that Ms. Orquídez, having been informed of this warrant, be released to pretrial services on this new matter and released as well on the warrant matter with instructions to appear at a rescheduled case management conference. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. So Ms. Urguites, I'm not seeing you today on the other Superior Court warrant matter. You're going to be seen in Superior Court on that. But given the recent failure to appear, I'm going to impose a bond of $1,000, cash or secured, if posted to pretrial. No drugs, no alcohol, monitoring treatments directed by pretrial, no firearms, no contact with the alleged victims in this case, or don't return to the business or incident location. All right, your next court date is going to be February 18, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. At the preliminary hearing, that date may or may not go, so make sure you keep in contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant may issue for your arrest. I'm also seeing you, ma'am, on some city court matters. So it looks like you failed to appear for court in Tucson City Court for charges of theft, shoplifting, drug paraphernalia, criminal trespass, obstruction, and other drug paraphernalia. So for those, ma'am, I am going to release you on your own recognizance or on your own signature. You're not to return to if you do postpone on the felony matters and you're out of custody, you're not to return to the incident locations for the trespass, no contact with the victim of the shoplifting. All right, because you are being held right now, ma'am, I am on the felony matters. I'm going to appoint the city public defender's office to represent you in the city court matters. Your next court date will be a video review hearing on March 21st, 2025 at 9 a.m. in front of Judge Crenshaw. If you're in custody still at that time, then the jail will make sure you get seen by video. If you're out of custody, it's up to you to make sure you make that court date. You understand the consequences of failing to miss court, ma'am?
Yes.
All right, you're excused. Thank you. Good morning. Can I get your name?
Nicholas Van Sumeren.
Mr. Van Sumeren, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on felony charges of organized retail theft and possession of drug paraphernalia. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. They have counsel seated next to you for today. I'm going to be imposing some release conditions. State's recommending $5,000. Mr. Poston, anything further?
5 out of 5 on both scales. He's got multiple artifices, so he's a fairly sophisticated shoplifter. Looks like a history of probation violation. State believes he's a flight risk and just cannot seem to stop stealing. 5,000.
All right, thank you. Mr. McCloskey?
Yes, Your Honor, we'd ask that the court release my client to the supervision of pretrial services. This is a nonviolent offense, and his only criminal history is both is minimal and quite distant temporally. I believe it's 14 years old. He can continue to reside here with his mother, so he has ties to this community, and I do believe that he will be able to make any future court hearings in this matter. So for those reasons, we'd ask that the court release him to the supervision of pretrial services.
All right, thank you. I am going to grant release to the supervision of pretrial services. Sir, no drugs, no alcohol, monitoring treatment as direct by pretrial, no firearms, do not go back to Target, which is the alleged incident location, no contact of any kind with Target, all right?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Of course. Your next court date is a preliminary hearing on February 26, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. That hearing may or may not go, sir, so keep in contact with your attorney. And if you fail to appear for any court dates, whether it's that date or any future ones, a warrant may issue for your arrest.
I'll be here, I promise you.
Okay. All right. Good luck to you, sir. You're excused.
Thank you so much, okay?
Good morning. Can I get your name?
Lisa Williams.
Ms. Williams, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you on a Cochise County Superior Court case warrant for possession of dangerous drugs. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. You have counsel seated for purposes of today. Ma'am, were you aware that you had a court date out of Cochise County?
I had a court date on the 21st.
So, Your Honor, I have had a chance to discuss this with Ms. Williams, if I may. She appeared on this matter, I believe it was November 1st of 2023. At that point, quashing a warrant that had been in place. A little over 2 weeks after that, a supervening indictment issued, and Ms. Williams was not aware of that, and it does not appear that she's ever been served with that warrant before this first time that she became aware of its existence. So for that reason, we'd ask that the court release her to pretrial services and have her arrange another opportunity to go in and quash that warrant in Cochise County now that she is aware of its existence.
Ma'am, do you have a stable residence?
Yes.
Is that in Tucson?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, ma'am, I am going to release you on this Cochise County warrant, but you have to take care of it. All right. You have to contact the Cochise County, probably public defender's office. You probably had an attorney when you quashed the warrant previously in 2023. So contact their office and get a court date so you can go quash that warrant so you can get this taken care of, right? It's been a couple of years, right? So I am going to release you on your own recognizance. There are not going to be any future court dates, but that warrant's going to be outstanding still. So you need to take care of it. All right.
Okay.
All right. You're excused, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
At the jail, is there anyone else?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Have a good morning, everyone.
Then,
Thank you.